Welcome to On Ice, the show about the show. Today we're talking about Lost, Season 6, Episodes 4 and 5. I'm Will, also here is Ben, and you can watch full video episodes of the podcast on YouTube. Ben and I also release a bonus hangout show every week that can be found over at patreon.com/Dr. Skeleton. How's it going, Ben?
Doing well. Fairly fresh off of watching these episodes. So, got a lot of stuff in mind.
Good. It's been a few days for me. We watch these kind of early in the week. So
nice. Another weekend where I was on a plane too. I was kind of doing the jack thing, flying around in the air, thinking about.
Yeah, hoping you'd crash.
Yeah, probably shouldn't. Yeah, I probably shouldn't say that because I'll have to get back on a plane soon
Someday.
enough. Someday. Yeah. But gets you in the mood. What if?
Mood for Lost. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we talked about this last week a little bit, but the first 3 episodes of the season set the stakes for the emotional and plot beats to come, and it had a fairly profound impact on me. This week, we get some of the necessary yeoman's work to set up an eventual payoff, hopefully. This is, we haven't seen how it ends. I trust that they know where they're going, but this is just say that, here we are in season 6. I wasn't really blown away by anything this week, but they can't be spinning your head around every single time.
No, you got to stop spinning.
Yeah, you got to
land the plane.
Exactly.
You
got to lay groundwork.
Helicopters have to stop spinning, presumably.
Yeah, I think that's generally a pretty bad thing, but they do eventually,
spin less.
unless they stop. Yeah. Now, I said this was yeoman's work. Do you consider yourself a yeoman? What do you think a yeoman?
No, I gotta say, yeoman that's one of those words that I read way before I ever heard anybody say out loud, and so it's still kind of in my head as I don't quite know how to say that word. So anyway, no, I don't think of myself as that because I don't think of myself as anything that I don't know how to say out loud.
Does this help? It seems to be, as far as a feudal title and status goes, ranked 1 ahead of the husbandman.
The husbandman?
Yeah, the husbandman is a lesser man than the yeoman.
Okay.
And 1 above the yeoman is a gentleman.
Ooh.
So this is the rankings. Here are the rankings. We're going to start from the bottom. And you have slave at the bottom. Not super fun. Yeah, and then you have a serf above that.
Oh, interesting.
And then vagabond.
Okay.
And then domestic servant. Then free tenant. Then husbandman. Okay. Which I've been trying to get my freaking Marvel to cut the check for my husbandman movie going. And then, above husbandman is yeoman, then gentleman, then lord of the manor, then mesne lord, then tenant in chief, and then lord paramount / territorial lord. That seems to be the top.
That's the top?
I feel like there's going to be king at some point, but all right.
Yeah. Where is this?
England.
Okay.
Mid 14th century England.
That does make sense. For some reason, I think it's because of the movies I've been watching. I was expecting samurai to be in there somewhere.
Okay.
It doesn't make sense for England, probably. Okay. I'm probably a husbandman.
Yeah. Meaning a husband in this term is master of the house rather than married man.
That's a better name. They should have stuck with that, master of the house.
instead of
Lord of the Manor sounds pretty good, or whatever. Was that what it was called?
yeah, Lord of the Manor / Overlord.
Overlord is great.
Yeah. Overlord sounds like it should be a lot higher, but instead you get Mesne Lord above
Mesne.
the
How do you spell
Overlord.
that? Mezze.
Mesne.
That's lame.
Yeah, I guess I don't know actually if I'm saying that right. Maybe it's like Mesne.
Mesne.
Yeah.
I really
this
don't
is not
know.
a show about Mesne Lords, nor Overlords, nor even husbandmen.
Possibly about the Lord. As
It could be about the Lord.
Yeah.
And in fact, this first episode of the Bachelor Watch Today is called The Substitute, which I think the ranking here goes: if you can't teach; if you can't teach gym; and those who can't teach gym, substitute teach gym. And that's exactly what one John Locke does in today's episode. So, Season 6, Episode 4 of The Substitute aired February 16th, 2010. It was directed by Tucker Gates, and it was written by Elizabeth Sarnoff and Melinda Sue Taylor. And once again, we are in the era of no production notes because everything is locked down and nobody can have any fun anymore. So, not sure what would have happened behind the scenes on this. So let's talk about what happens in 2004 in the Flash Sideways timeline. John Locke arrives at his home after returning from Australia on Flight 815. He is greeted by his fiancée, Helen Norwood. Remember her? It's Helen. Now, this isn't the lady he was talking to on the phone, right? That was somebody else.
Oh, yes.
Remember that?
Yes. I guess not well enough, but yep, I remember it happening.
Okay. As
That's
we're nearing
also
the end
Helen?
of it,
Really
I don't think that...
We should have watched
this
whole series in like 1 week so we could remember what happened.
Yeah. I mean, I have been kind of going back through my memory of like, as we're reaching the end, like, and we actually, so in one of these episodes, like we go back to the caves and we see those bodies there. And I wonder, as I think they're kind of doing some cleanup here. They'll be like, all right, there are some loose ends that we dangled, but we're letting you know that we remember that. So I'm sort of trying to remember, like, what are the loose ends that, like, quite theoretically all of our questions will be answered, or at least we'll have like a reason why they won't be answered. And so I think I'm remembering, I don't think he's talking to Helen on the phone there. I think he's just talking to sex worker.
Yeah, who he called Helen, maybe.
Yes, might have called her that. So yeah, he's set to marry Helen Norwood shortly in a wedding also apparently to be attended by his father. So things are different in this version of things. So yeah, Locke gets stuck on his van lift, getting out of his van there because he's in a wheelchair. And once again, his technical troubleshooting skills leave a lot to be desired to me. He's only pushing forward on it. And what if there's like a little character moment? Like he refuses to backtrack as a character, as a person or something, but like it gets stuck and he doesn't even want to like jiggle it. It's just like, just pedal to the metal forward. Yeah, it's the only way. Interesting.
Also, rather than call for help, decides to ramp.
Yeah. Yeah, launch himself.
Well, I guess I'm gonna jump.
Yeah. And his wife is just right inside. I mean, I'm curious what a disability reading of this Locke stuff would yield, like smarter people than us taking this, because like he is like grappling with this paralysis of his legs and stuff, and
sure.
He seems to have a lot of shame about it, or pride that he does. He refuses to park in the accessible parking spots at work. And he's maybe not so good at calling for help. I wonder. But it doesn't seem like he or the people around him are considering that like maybe it's possible that he could have a fulfilling life in a wheelchair. Like that doesn't seem to be like in the mix at all. So I don't know.
Yes. As I see, yes. Sorry. To be honest, I thought you were, what is the disability reading on ramping out of the car specifically? I was going to say, I feel like we are directionally correct on that because I can't imagine an advocate coming on and being like, nope, that's what we love to see. That's what the representation we want. Somebody in a wheelchair gets stuck, they should be doing something insane. Wheeling themselves downstairs or out of a car or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, this probably isn't making the montage of like how to represent, people with disabilities in media, and it's just like clips of John Locke like falling 8 stories and then like falling out of his thing. Helen encourages Locke to call Dr. Jack Shepard, who previously offered to evaluate Locke's condition on the house. Locke declines to do so because he does not believe in miracles and wants Helen to love him for who he is. And they reaffirm their love for one another. He does call and then he hangs up.
Yeah. Which is a good step. I probably wouldn't call. Not because of the disability part, call? But the talking on the phone.
Just bad at making phone calls.
Yeah, that part. Don't like doing that part.
I think I would call if there was.
I mean,
I would call.
Flip side of that, I just had a spinal surgeon give me offer some surgery on the house. So
yeah, which is a very tempting offer. That if anyone ever offers you surgery for free, you should take that.
Yeah, we'll do it now. What are you offering?
I've got 20 minutes before the next thing. Do you want to just go take care of that right now?
Yeah,
sure, man. Locke returns to work, where his supervisor, Randy, confronts Locke. Good old Randy. It's been a minute since we saw him.
Randy, unaffected by the H-bomb over the past.
Yes, he is not years. Suddenly a nice guy. Yeah.
No. Yeah.
He returns to work where supervisor Randy confronts Locke about his failure to attend a company conference while in Sydney. Locke attempts to apologize, but Randy fires him. It's fun to see Randy again. I will say Locke really risked it all with this move. Like, trying to... I love... I'll take on the company card, a company dime, like international trip to Australia, and then not doing any of that is like pretty risky. And I love his attempt to brush it off too. Like,
let's just call it vacation.
All right, you got me. Let's just call it vacation, boss.
Yeah. This wasn't going to play out like any differently whether you had Randy or not. Basically.
Yeah. And I don't mean to be like on Randy's side on this, but Locke should have maybe seen this coming.
Yeah.
I don't know what he was expecting. I mean, honestly, just being fired over it is probably like one of the better outcomes, because while he leaves the building, he comes into contact with Hurley, the owner of the company, who refers Locke to a temp agency that he also owns.
Locke does not mention that he was fired for cause.
No, he does not.
I stole a couple $1,000 from your company. That's why I was fired.
I do love Big Baller Hugo, though. Just running the thing. He is in his Hummer there. I think we see that.
Yeah.
Locke is trying to open his lift into Hurley's car so it gets scratched up, but it's still stuck.
Yep.
But Hugo just writes down our numbers, go here, tell them Hugo sent you, they'll take care of you. At the temp agency, Rose Nadler is the supervisor. Locke hits the first person with the. They're doing some personality tests. Like, if you were an animal, what animal would you be?
Yep.
And Locke rightly is like, this is some dumb bullshit. Just give me a job.
Yeah.
And so Rose Nadler comes over and says, well, you can't work construction. And Locke's like, freaking why? And she's like, come on, man. Like, you can't. And he's like, what do you know about hardship? She's like, well, I have terminal cancer.
HR representative owns disrespectful fall victim.
Yeah, I mean, I do need to see a an HR reading of this whole conversation too. Like, how did we handle this one? Everything. Like, maybe you should let him be a construction site manager. I don't know.
Locke Why not? I mean, this is TV character stuff that, this is the TV character stuff, not the writing that makes me cringe, but just the thought of doing this type of stuff on my own, Locke is just lucking out, like getting a grand slam on errors. Like yeah. The entire day, does the fraudulent trip to Africa just
Australia.
Australia just gets regular fired. Probably doesn't have to pay it back,
not like
or anything.
Sued. Yeah.
Runs into the owner. Doesn't bring that up at all.
Tries
to ruin his
car. But like the mechanism happens to stop him from being able to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Hurley gives him a free job basically, and just like, go here and, unsaid part, just be normal. Goes to the place, is very not normal. Like, I mean,
yes,
the animal thing is annoying, but I'd be like, okay, tested my luck twice today.
Mm-hmm. There's a little bit playing ball that you just,
now I'm gonna play ball a little bit more. But he's like, no, bring me your supervisor.
Yeah.
Right now. This is literally a handout for me, but bring me your supervisor. And then,
which is why you're such in favor of like cutting entitlements and such, right? You were saying?
Yeah.
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 No, yeah. Locke is
being a weirdo.
Being a weirdo. In addition, Locke tells Helen why he lost his job and admits that he went to Australia to go on a walkabout, but was not allowed to do so. He's like, check the case. It's full of knives, baby. Rose does find him work as a substitute teacher at a school. There, one Ben Linus also works as a history teacher. I love Ben being a break room tyrant. I think that rules.
Nice, yeah.
If if you don't know how to make coffee, let me know. Just let me know, and I'll show you. But he's being super mad about it.
Yeah. The teacher that the other teachers hate.
Yes.
Do you have definitely. Any of those when you were a kid that you knew about?
There was in 7th grade, one teacher that all the kids hated. I know for sure. And there was like Teacher Appreciation Day, and we're all supposed to be writing cards. But anyway, if anyone happens to be listening from another country, like, yeah, this is like, yeah, in 7th grade, you're writing like cards to your teachers thanking them instead of like learning math or whatever. But yeah, it was like, okay, everybody like pick your favorite teacher and write them a letter. And then I remember like my homeroom teacher was like, all right, guys, is anyone gonna pick Mrs. Meyer? And no one spoke up. And so I think that like she made a few kids just say, well, you're gonna write a letter to her anyway.
Nice.
Did you have any teachers that you knew that other teachers hated?
Not really. That's why I was curious, but who knows? Who knows what's going on the inside of the break room?
Yeah. I do like that. Okay, so John seems to be teaching substitute teaching PE and science. I was laughing at the teacher who calls in the sub to teach the kids about the human reproductive system. They like see that coming up and they're like, I'm
out.
I'm gonna make the sub do this. Yeah. I remember my teachers making a huge deal out of sex day.
Oh, you called it sex day?
Well, I don't know what else to call it. I'm calling it sex day. Yeah, but like, and not like in a like this is really important, so let's be sensitive, but in a way more like immature, like I really don't want to talk about this. This is so awkward.
When
which I think is like
do that? We did that in like 5th grade or something like that. Your teacher's talking to kids at that age like that? You're like 12.
I didn't say an age. Yeah, I think I remember my 2nd grade teacher doing that.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
You had a sex day in 2nd grade?
2nd grade sex day. Yeah.
Are you serious? You had a sex ed in 2nd grade?
And like 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, like they go over it all.
What did they teach you in 2nd? I feel like people were still wetting the bed in 2nd grade. You know, maybe that's what they were teaching you. But I really don't know. Not me, of course.
Sounds like you were.
It wasn't me.
Kind of sounds like you were, man.
Nope. But what in the world were they teaching you in 2nd grade? I'm not trying to be, prudish about this.
Do I have to explain this to you?
I really don't know what they're telling you then,
I believe the conversation was a little bit like, I remember it being like, okay, I think it was generally a bad strategy to make a big deal out of it, or like to be so immature, because like teacher's like, I've got a freaking headache today too, and this is the last thing I want to talk about. Oh, this is gonna be so uncomfortable, and so like I'm getting super anxious about like, I think I know what you're about to do here, but like, could you just be an adult about it, please? Could you be the adult? And she like had like a student go like close the door, and she goes, boys have penises, girls have vaginas. I remember that being the talk.
Open the door.
All right, you can open the door again.
For
Any
real,
questions? Any questions?
I don't remember that.
No, I think
there was.
I think there was stuff after that, but that's actually open.
I really don't remember that being part of 2nd grade at all. The main thing I remember from 2nd grade, well, you can guess. Everybody knows. 9/11 happened in 2nd grade.
Okay. Yes, that is true.
That's what I learned about.
Mm.
Yep.
Sex day was my own personal 9/11 in many ways. I remember there also being like students like throughout the years whose parents would like they would send out like it was always like euphemistically described like whatever like unit it was going to be about. It was never, they should just call it sex day, but they were calling it family science or something, I don't know. And they would send out the like materials to the parents ahead of time, and I remember there being like kids whose parents didn't want them to know about sex, and so like they
opted them out.
Yeah, they'd opt out, which is like, I don't even get really how that would work. Like, you just, okay, who doesn't want to know about sex? Like, all right, you can go over there. Go over there.
You're not allowed to stay. I mean, I think that's a thing now. I mean, it is a thing now. I've heard about, I don't want my kid to read whatever, some book or something, but interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Parents,
but yes, anyways.
It's Underwear Sciences Day, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. It's our bits and pieces unit. But I think Locke teaching, doing Locke's sex day is kind of funny. In 2007, original timeline, The man in black, in the form of Locke, who I call Boschlock, attempts to recruit both Richard Alpert and Sawyer for his quest to leave the island. Sawyer realizes that the man in black is not Locke because Locke was always so scared, and the man in black is not, which is very funny and really twisting the knife on Locke as a person. Like, hold on, you're way too swaggy to possibly be Locke. It's like if we're hanging out and I crack like an actually funny joke, you immediately start like grabbing my face to pull off the Mission Impossible mask. Like, Will would never be actually funny. Who are you? Boschlock separately promises each of them answers about the island. Richard refuses, and Sawyer agrees to travel with him. While in the jungle, they both see a young boy, and the man in black is surprised that Sawyer can see him as well. And the man in black chases him. The boy tells Boschlock, "You know the rules. You can't kill him." Enraged, Boschlock declares, "Don't tell me what I can't do," a phrase that the real Locke frequently used in the past. What's this called? Like, just like an epigenetic memory servicing here, or like it's some sort of
sure, yeah. Epigenetics probably the closest thing, since we don't really have.
This isn't like a real
smoke monster takes over a real guy in the real world. Yeah.
Meanwhile, Richard speaks with Sawyer, claiming that the man in black's true intention is to kill everyone on the island, but runs away before he can explain further after seeing Boschlock returning. Boschlock leads Sawyer to a cave after descending via a ladder made of rope and bamboo off a cliff. This is a tough commute for Sawyer.
Yep. Rope ladder, bamboo. What are you climbing down? Rope ladder, bamboo ladder. Which one you got? I prefer the bamboo.
I think I'm going bamboo. Yeah. More rigid.
Yeah, rigid stuff's better.
Heard that. Inside the cave, there are scales holding one black and one white stone. He takes the white stone and throws it into the sea, saying, "Inside joke." So, Ben, what's the inside joke? The scale is now out of balance, with nothing to counter the black rock. Jacob brought the black rock ship to the island. Any analysis here on the inside joke?
Nope.
I'll nod to the... All right.
I also don't remember. What could it be?
Boschlock leads Sawyer deeper into the cave, where there are surnames written on the ceilings and walls. The names include his own, but also Jarrah, Shepard, Reyes, and Quan. Other names are scratched out, and the man in black crosses out Locke. Additionally, 6 names correspond to one of the numbers. Are those famous numbers that we know and love: 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, and 42 for Locke, Reyes, Ford, Jarrah, Shepard, and Quan, respectively. They were brought to the island by Jacob as candidates to replace him as the guardian of the island. The man in black claims that Jacob has manipulated the lives of all of the candidates in order to bring them to the island. Sawyer now had... Yeah.
Did you read any of the other crossed out names at all?
I was thinking about it, but I didn't like. I was thinking about going back and trying to.
I think if I was there, I'd be looking. Who was here before?
Yeah.
Wait, what the hell? These are all. Oh, Weinstein.
All Weinstein. Thousands of Weinstein.
I don't know why he was the only person I could pull. Polanski? Allen? Why these are all?
Could you name another name from a different with a different background?
Famous. These are
just Spacey.
There you go.
Clinton. All right.
Yeah, sorry.
Fogel. All right. Sawyer now has 3 options: to do nothing, to accept the job. What if I could just do Rain Man like rattle off like hundreds of pedophiles. It'd be like a really funny hyperfixation. All right, Sawyer now has 3 options: to do nothing, to accept the job and to protect the island, or to leave the island with the man in black, who claims that protecting the island is pointless as there is nothing to protect it from, which is similar to what Jack once told the real Locke. And Sawyer agrees to leave with him. I'm going to offer up a rule for TV and movie characters. I'm going to try this. I don't know if this works 100% of the time, but it's something I've noticed. Most of the time when a villain, or it doesn't have to be villain, any 2 characters, one is offering the other like some options. Like, you got some options. 1, you could do nothing. 2, the X. 3, Y. Something like that. Always go with number 1. Like, your life will always be better if you take the first option. I remember it happened in Mission Impossible when like Rebecca Ferguson meets with Tom Cruise and is like, we have a couple options. We could run away, or we could go over to the villain and like turn ourselves in. It's like, just easily run away. Like, definitely number 1 with a bullet. And then like, Man in Black's like, all right, so you got 3 options. 1, you could do nothing. It's like, done. That one, definitely. Lock it in. Final answer, do nothing.
Yep.
That's going to be me every single time. At the remains of the statue, Ilana and Ben discuss what happened to her companions. Ben says that the Man in Black killed them all, including Jacob. Upset, Ilana takes ashes of Jacob's body and informs Ben that the Man in Black is now stuck in the form of Locke. We're getting some rules.
Locked in.
He's locked in, baby. Is this the episode that shows like his perspective, like the POV, you're the smoke monster, like running around the island?
Oh.
I think it's this one.
Yeah, I think so.
That was cool. I like that sequence.
Yeah.
Outside, she tells the remaining group, Sun and Frank, that they must travel to the temple for protection. Sun insists that they must first bury the real Locke's body and travel to the survivor's original graveyard to do so. They hold an impromptu funeral where Ben delivers a eulogy and apologizes for murdering Locke. Kind of makes it about himself in it, but Lapidus has another chance for a quip. Weirdest funeral I've ever been to. He's trying to get those promo lines, like you mentioned.
Lapidus is the voice of husband of a Locke fan husband of a Lost fan who's being forced to watch the final season. Hasn't watched anything else.
Yeah. Well, this is weird.
What the hell is going on here? This doesn't make any sense.
So we do get some rules for the season. Like we said, Boschlock can't kill the candidates. The numbers refer to the candidates. And Boschlock can't shapeshift anymore. So this is kind of like, the building the framework for this season, the yeoman's work of establishing the playing field here. We get some like tone setting up top, and now we get like, all right, so why couldn't he just transform into Jack and then come over and get everyone to do it? No, it's because he's stuck at it like this now for some reason. And he can't just walk up and kill them all because apparently that's a rule too. Yeah. I'm going to give this episode a 3 out of 5. I want to give some headroom for the rest of the season.
Sure. Yeah. It's about that for me too. A 3.
Yeah. It's good. It's solid. I'm interested.
It's good enough. Yeah.
Yeah. This episode of On Ice, the show, is brought to you by Ben and I. Thanks for listening to the podcast. Please consider subscribing. Please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel and telling a friend about the show. Also, check out patreon.com/Dr. Skeleton for extra content. All right, let's talk about season 6, episode 5, called The Lighthouse. This aired February 23rd, 2010. It was directed by Jack Bender and written by Damon Lindelof and Carlton Cuse. This is very much a Jack ep. 2004's Flash Sideways timeline. Jack Shepard arrives late to pick up his son, David, from school. All right, pause, breaks. Let's break this down.
Yeah.
Why is Jack late picking his son, David, up from school? Well, he just got out of the shower. And once again, we see that he is 1, body bald, and 2, putting clothes on while still wet. Insane. Something is going on in the ABC writers' room where they just love those wet clothes.
Another thing not solved by the H-bomb in the past. It was always destined to be.
I love still being dripping wet, but putting on my clothes after a shower. Crazy behavior. But yeah, Jack has a son, David. Whoa, dude.
What is this actor's name? So that I can say his name when I say that I don't like
So he knows it's coming from me. Dylan Minnette.
Dylan Minnette. I don't like you. I don't like your acting here. I don't like your acting since. Sorry.
Is he in other stuff? I don't know him.
Yeah, like he's in a lot of teen stuff that
he's a singer.
Seen in the past. He's a singer?
Yeah.
No, can't be.
Yes.
They can't abide.
He's an American singer, songwriter, actor, and musician. He began his career as a child actor and received recognition for his role as a younger version of the character Michael Schofield on the drama series Prison Break.
Okay. He was in that 13 Reasons to Die show or whatever.
Oh, 13 Reasons Why.
Yes.
I'm saying. Yes. Okay, I didn't watch that.
I watched that as an adult for some reason. People at work were watching it, I think, my first year out of college. He was in that show. Didn't like him.
He's in Prisoners? Must be a child in that. 13 or something.
The Denis Villeneuve.
He's in Let Me In. Okay. Anyway, I don't know who he is.
He's
outside of this.
Perpetually pissed off guy. He's always looking like he's sad and pissed off.
I think he did a fine job in this episode. He's Jack's son. He doesn't like his dad. He's distant from his father.
Well, Dylan Minnette, whatever your name is, you get mixed reviews from our podcast because I'm not backing down. I don't like him. But whatever.
Can't say anything about his music though. I don't know his music. I'm just inherently suspicious of like actors turned musicians though. Although child actor turned musician could be less bad just because like being a child actor has got to just make you crazy. So
maybe the music is good.
Maybe music's good. Yeah, David is distant from his father. Jack visits his mother to help find Jack's father's will, leaving David alone. Yeah, he gets like David like one night a month, kind of seems like from his he's like from the divorce. We don't know who Jack's ex-wife is. Or if a wife at all, but just seems to be
husband,
his kid. Yeah. No, he says your mother.
Okay.
Yeah. And so yeah, he's there to spend the night, like one night a month, and then like Jack immediately takes a call and he's like, all right, I'm getting out of here. You good? So yeah, there's maybe some bad dadding going on.
Sure.
I also noticed this during the start of the show. Since he's got his like shirt open while he's on the call. They can't put a lav mic on him like normal, so the sound is like muffled. They're using a different source or a different placement for it. All the more reason to
put a shirt on,
button your shirt up, or dry off or something. I don't know. Maybe we don't have to have Matthew Fox soaking wet for this one, guys.
Maybe that's why they haven't put the clothes on so quickly. Now that you're saying that out loud, you know?
Probably. Good
You got
place
to put
to
the clothes. Get your clothes back on so we can get a lab mic on you.
Mm-hmm.
You just do one take and you hear the water squishing around as this is putting the wet shirt over his body with the lab mic
It's like
stuck in it.
comically like underwater, like
It's a big improvement.
Great. Perfect. All right. Next. Jack's mother reveals that David was upset at his grandfather's funeral. His grandfather being, of course, Christian. However, he never showed it to Jack. She suggests that perhaps David is terrified of Jack, just as Jack was afraid of his father as a child. They find the will, but are confused to see Claire Littleton included in it, whom they have never heard about.
Jack, have you ever heard your father mentioned Claire Littleton? Is that kind of strange? I would have been like,
Who's Claire?
who's this?
Yeah.
That's why I don't write TV shows. I'm not very good at revealing anything.
Yeah, it would just be like, huh? Be more realistic if it's just like, what the heck?
Just nothing happens, just thinking it. The heck?
Looking off into the distance, furrowing your brow. Like, what are we supposed to get out of this? Also spotted in the in Christian's office that they're going through, we see McCutcheon 60 spotted.
Oh, everybody's drinking McCutcheon. Yeah.
Woo!
We should get some
Jack
for our final episode.
For our final episode, our wrap up episode.
Don't know how we're gonna get it. This non-existent thing.
We'll just drink whiskey that. Yeah,
okay,
we'll just drink.
Sure. Stuff's expensive.
We'll drink the real life comp that's like $1,200. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jack returns home to find that David has snuck out. Do you think they're going to explain why Jack drives such a cool car? Like, why does a guy who is otherwise a total herb drive an immaculately restored old Ford Bronco? I guess like maybe that's like
OJ mode, kind of.
He is prone to.
Maybe in this universe, OJ Simpson never had the chase, and so the Bronco is still.
So it's actually a current
existing.
Gen.
It's still a popular car. Yeah,
could be. But like, I guess so. Maybe I'll just take it for like, okay, we only see in normal life, we're only seeing his bad ones, but in normal life, Jack's actually pretty cool.
Sure.
As evidenced by his cool car. Maybe. They explain everything else. But like, what I do think I've been thinking about like, I think it'd be fun to make one of those interminable like 4-hour YouTube essays that are needlessly long. That's kind of redundant to say, but like about like car casting in movies and TV shows. I think that's very interesting.
That's a thing that people do, or the car casting is your idea?
Well, it's got to be a thing. I mean, somebody chooses the cars that characters drive, and that's what I mean. And like, I'm sure that there's like some versions of it that people think about really, really strongly. I would say most these are all considered decisions by production designers, writers, directors, whatever. Like sometimes it's really important. Sometimes it's like it doesn't really matter what it is, and it's just like whatever's there. But like there are certain what kind of car a character has says something about them, and I'm trying like it's chosen for a reason. Like, what are you trying to communicate as an artist with this like choice of car?
Yep.
And I'm thinking about what does it mean for Jack that he has such a cool car? I guess that he's swaggier than I would like, perhaps.
Is it a cool car?
Do you disagree?
Kind of. It's not that cool. To me,
it's cool. Do you know why it's cool? It's because like, okay, so I'm not like a classic car guy necessarily.
Yeah.
I think that is a cool looking, like those old Ford Broncos are cool looking. And it's like a 70s Bronco too. It's not even like the, you know, the OJ version, like modern one or whatever. But he drives it around like normal. That's what makes it cool. He drives it and he's like, slams the door or whatever. Like he's still like, it's his regular community. It's not just like a showpiece or like he's overly precious about it. That's what makes it cool.
Okay.
Jack goes to David's mother's house. She is absent, but Jack learns that David is at an important piano recital. He's like looking around his room, wistfully checking things out. He should be like 10% more alarmed, though, I think, at this point. Like, he's just gone. He's completely gone. He's like, check out this baseball over here. David, where are you?
But he's a little alarmed by the...
He is alarmed.
Yeah. What the hell? My son's a fucking music nerd? What?
Jack goes. He like plays his. He's got like a telephone in his room, like answering machine in his bedroom.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if it's that. This was 2004. This was 2004, but that would have been a thing that.
I don't think so, because when I was a kid, I still think of that as just like, oh, that's what they had in Seinfeld, because I think that. I feel like answering machines played a big part of Seinfeld, but like we had an answering machine and we did not have like, rewind the tape, put in a cassette style answering machine like him.
We had a rewind cassette.
Oh, you
tape.
did?
But I just think it's weird. I think it's strange that like the child has a
that's true.
Have an answering machine in his bedroom.
Sure. It is kind of crazy. I mean, maybe is it more or less crazy now, the fact that an extremely bougie thing to do was to your kid to have their own landline telephone number in their bedroom? I mean, I guess people just have cell phones that have
cell phones now.
Their own numbers, but that still seems really out there.
It does.
Yeah,
that
two
does seem
landlines.
Like, for some reason, crazier to me to have multiple landlines.
Because it's like now you call somebody's cell phone and you're calling the person, but like when you call a landline, you're calling
a location.
You're telling me you're calling a child's bedroom? That's what I'm saying as the detective in every show. You're telling me you called a 12-year-old boy's bedroom? I don't know what else.
It's like his other 12-year-old friends. Yeah. But, yeah. Yeah. So Jack goes to the conservatory where David is performing an interpretation of Chopin's Fantasy Impromptu on the piano.
Which he plays
I'll sit.
Pissed offly.
Christofferson over here. Yeah. He does it well, though.
Yep.
I will say, David is good at piano. He shall be rocking in my show. Second School of Rock reference of the episode.
Nice.
Jack runs into Dogan there in the audience,
yeah.
Another parent at the event, who praises David's skill and believes he has a gift.
Child is very good at piano. How long has he played? Jack is the worst dad of all time.
I don't know.
I don't know.
And then he like waves him off. Basically, he's like, and then just walks away. Pretty sick.
Yep. You made fun of me when I said that was my move. I don't know if I said this on the
I'm also making fun of Jack.
Or the other one. Okay. Well, could have given
me. We were just obviously just making fun of him.
Sick one. Oh, I thought it was cool, actually.
You thought it was being cool? Okay.
Genuinely cool.
And just turning her around. Right.
Bye-bye.
Afterward, David admits that he did not tell Jack about the recital for fear of disappointing him. Well,
Jack's like, you're pretty good at the piano. And then kid is like, I missed some notes. Pissed offly, I missed some notes. And then Jack is like, Sounded perfect from where I am. That made me mad as a kid. I hated when my parents said that kind of stuff.
What are you supposed to say?
Well, I know you're not supposed to. I think you're supposed to say you did a good job.
Damn, you suck.
Don't
for
tell
real.
me. No, just say you did a good job. Don't be like, sounded perfect. That's annoying.
Okay. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, sounded good. I think it was all right. Pretty good. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sure, it's not the best. Really digging yourself a hole.
Bye-bye. Walk away again.
All those Bring Back the Beats commercial, like your son is saying how upset they are and be like, all right. And you can tell everybody.
Speed away in the Bronco.
That is funny, where he was like, all right, let's go home. And he's like unlocking his bike, but Jack like speed walks ahead, jumps in the car, and lets the kid ride the bike home.
I was wondering about that. I legitimately was thinking about that as they were walking away. Like, are they gonna put this in the back of his truck, or is he gonna tell his kid like, "I'll meet you
back
home.
there"? Well, he's like,
I just restored this. I don't think you should
probably
read that home. You should probably read that home.
Or even more awkwardly, like walking alongside him, but leaving his car in the parking lot too. Like, what about your car? We're like, bye-bye.
Or the bike. The kid's just like, I'll leave this here for tomorrow. Like he's jumping in the passenger seat. Just, what are you doing? What about your bike? I'll just get it tomorrow, Dad. We're having a pretty good conversation here, you know?
I hate for it to be stolen tonight. You probably should go take care of that.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Can I put it in the trunk?
Yeah, sure. Why don't you go unlock it? It peels out. But yeah, Jack explains his complicated relationship with his father and reassures his son that he can never be a disappointment to him. David appears to warm up to his father. Also needing warming up, though, is that freaking pizza. Jack's like, we got pizza back at the house. Like, at this point, that's gonna be cold pizza. That's just sitting out on the table.
Yeah, that's insane. Better order a pizza, and then it arrives, and like, well, better go to this piano recital, I suppose.
I bet that pizza's still good. I bet this kid will still
it is probably
be excited about that pizza.
That is true. But it is an insane move. Have you ever ordered a pizza before going out to do something? Ordering a pizza is what you do when you're like...
He didn't know that he was going to need to go do that. He thought he was going to be...
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Be there.
I guess that's true. But he ordered... So, yeah. Yeah, that's true. Okay. Whatever.
Whatever. Nice. All right, 2007, the original timeline. At the Other's temple, Hurley is approached by the ghost of a deceased Jacob, who tasks Hurley on a mission to lead Jack to somewhere to aid the arrival of someone en route to the island. Hurley is a candidate, and so not even Dogen can stop him from completing his mission. Dogen wears some goofy, sheer, fingerless gloves, I noticed.
Yeah.
Bad look, I think.
Bad look.
Hurley uses the phrase, "You have what it takes," to recruit Jack. Along the way, Jack and Hurley encounter Kate, who refuses to go with them, to continue her search for Claire. Jack and Hurley pass through the caves, encountering the Adam and Eve skeletons and Jack's father's coffin. Circling back to old plot points, hopefully signaling that they haven't forgotten about that. Jack tells Hurley that he came back to the island because he was broken and he was stupid enough to think that it would fix him. This is a rare moment of emotional honesty from Jack. Jack and Hurley arrive at the lighthouse, at a lighthouse, I guess. And they're like, or Jack's like, how come we never noticed that? And Hurley's like, guess we were never looking for it.
Good answer. That is a good answer.
Yeah. At the top of the lighthouse, there is a dial and lined up mirrors. Each notch on the dial. Actually, Jack has to go Saeed mode to get into the lighthouse first, right? Like they has to kick the door in.
Yeah.
So
Ancient lighthouse. Maybe
you play.
Jack, just be chill. Just open the door.
Really setting the tone for what's going to happen in this lighthouse. I will say, yeah.
That's what I would do at the pyramids of Giza if I was like one of those archaeologists and like, like,
hey, this is a little bit stuck. Let me just
like the 1920s guys where it's like archaeology is like a thing, but it's still just kind of like a crazy guy thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically Indiana Jones, except more racist or whatever, yeah. kicking down the doors to famous places or
today
whatever.
He'd be called Indiana Jones. Nice. Yeah, he just kicks it in. Do you ever play Tears of the Kingdom? The Legend of Zelda? Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah. Is that the first one?
It's the most recent one.
No. I played the one before.
Okay. This one, they have to find their way into the different, like the towers that you'd go and like climb up to like illuminate the land.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in the Tears of the Kingdom, they like, it's like harder to get into the towers now. Like you have to solve a puzzle to climb up it or whatever. So yeah, at the top of the lighthouse, there's a dial and lined up mirrors. Each notch on the dial has a name listed next to it, corresponding to the surnames and numbers seen in the previous episode. Hurley begins to move the dial to 108 degrees, as instructed by Jacob, which that's a new number, right? We haven't heard 108.
I think
that's the case. But Jack sees he sees Shepard and 23, Jordan. And he insists that they turn it to the 23 mark where his own surname is listed, revealing Jack's childhood home in the reflection. Jack realizes that Hurley has been watching all of them for a long time, becomes upset. He interrogates Hurley, who cannot answer any of his questions, leaving Jack to destroy the mirrors. And this is a classic Jack crash out.
108 is the sum of the numbers. I just did a little calculation. I kind of figured that's what it was.
Ooh. Very interesting.
A new fact discovered by me and certainly no other lost people. I didn't figure it out. This is first party research, folks.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. I'm not. What do you think of? I'm, pissed at Jack for like just going apeshit and destroying the stuff. I would love to, like, Jack just let Hurley move it to 108, man.
Yeah. Let's see what happens.
We'll check your name. Let's just calm down, dude. God damn. I thought he was gonna start like beating Hurley with the telescope. He grabs it and he's like, "Why does it show my house?" He's like, "I don't know," man. He's like, "Fine," and then just start wailing on the mirrors.
What do you think would have been at 108? What would be in the mirror?
Since it's maybe all of them, maybe
just they're all there. End of it's another reference that you're not going to
get because you
haven't watched it, but the end of Evangelion where everybody's just standing there clapping, being like, "Woohoo! You did it! Great job!" Confetti like falling down. You solved the island.
Yeah. Or like it's the Matrix, right? Where like there's like the silo of all the screens and stuff. You see them.
Sure.
Or it's you turn it to 108, and it's the only one that's a true mirror that just reflects your own face back at you. It was you the whole time.
Nice.
The rest of them were something else. I don't know. Outside, Jacob reappears to Hurley.
108 says like dumbass next to it. What's in this one?
Ooh, it says I could find the definition of gullible by looking up 108 degrees. Outside, Jacob reappears to Hurley, congratulating him on bringing Jack to the lighthouse. Congratulations, you solved the lighthouse. Jacob did not want to send a signal, but instead he needed Jack to see the mirror and realize that he is important to the island. Jacob also needed to get Jack and Hurley away from the temple because someone bad was coming there. Ooh.
Yes. Who? Can we have some answers?
I think we know who. And we're going to meet them in this next little part. Meanwhile, Jin. It's Jin. Someone's bad and it's Jin. No. Jin is rescued by Claire from her trap, taking him and an injured other Justin to her hideout. Claire has been living on the island in the 3 years since Jin and everyone else's departure. She treats Jin's leg injury and then threatens to kill Justin unless he reveals the location of her son, Aaron. Thing is, Ben, the others never kidnapped Aaron, and Justin has no idea where her child is. Claire believes that the others have her baby because both her father and her friend told her so. Jin informs her that Kate has been raising Aaron off the island. Claire murders Justin regardless, claiming that he would have done the same to her given the chance. And then Jin, because he's like freaked way the hell out at whatever Claire's doing, then says he was lying about Aaron earlier, leading Claire to say that she would have killed Kate if it was true. And then Claire's friend, the man in black impersonating John Locke, shows up as Jin and Claire discuss how to return to the temple. And Claire knows that it's not Locke. So the flash sideways allow the characters another go at the sources of their guilt or regret. Kate keeps Claire and Aaron together. Locke is honest with Helen and their engagement continues. And Jack tells David the words that he never got to hear from his own father. It's kind of interesting. I'm gonna give this another 3 out of 5. The plot thickens.
This one's like a 4 for me. I did like it quite a bit.
Nice. Well, that's going to be it for the show today. If you like what you heard and want to hear more from Ben and I, consider joining our Patreon. That's patreon.com/drskeleton. Every week, Ben and I release a bonus hangout show and get into the stuff that we just can't talk about on the main feed. Right into the show, drskeletonsartschool@gmail.com. Comment down below, what did we miss? What other numbers can you add together to get to other numbers? In the comments, do some math. Next week, we are watching Season 6, Episodes 6 and 7.